Awesome. Okay, so happy June 1st, 2017. And I wanted to take a little bit of time with you guys and talk about just balance. And then if you all would raise your hand and say, yeah, I get out of balance. I think we all do. And so I was really thinking about as summer comes and we're looking at activities and wanting to maximize sunshine, or if we have children that are out of school, taking vacations, how do we create balance? What I realize is it's not just summertime. This is every season of our life. Winter, spring, summer, fall. There are seasons where we do activities that we don't do during other seasons. And we all can get out of balance, where we feel that there's more on our plate. And so I wanted to give you guys just some strategies on what to do to make sure that you're having life and work balanced. Now, I want you to know balance, for me, is a ridiculous statement. Nobody has balance, because you never know what's going to come at you. You never know when you're planning for your Zoom this morning that you're going to have one of your children spontaneously interrupt you. You don't plan for that. You're going to have an opportunity every day to plan your day. You should have already planned your month of June. So planning is one of the best things you can do to create balance. So how do you plan? Most people don't know how to plan. They think about it, and because they've thought about it, they think that they have a plan. I really want to lose weight. I really don't want my house to be the color yellow. So you have all these thoughts, but it's not a plan. And all those thoughts can clutter your mind. They become distractions, and then you lose focus because you have random, I would just say, clutter going on in your mind. So planning literally takes your focus from random thoughts to something that's concrete that you want to do, and then make actionable items to make it happen. So in work, planning your day before your day begins, there should be absolutes that you plan. If you work a job, then it's what time you wake up, what time you leave the house, and if it's a 2-hour block between the time you wake up and the time you leave the house, that 2-hour block is not going to be Nerium. It's going to be getting ready for your day, packing your lunch, doing what you need to do to get out the door. But then what if you have a 30-minute drive? During that 30-minute drive, that's time that you can plan personal development, because that needs to be a daily activity to build your business, to build who you are, to build life. 30 minutes can be making phone calls, coaching call, follow-up call, depending on what time you do your commute. I used my commute time every day to do personal development on the way to work, and on the way home, it was follow-up calls. It was just planned in my day. I had a 30-minute commute, and that's exactly what I did in that 30-minute window. But I had to plan it. Then if you have a lunch break, during your lunch break, what are you doing? One of the things in planning for balance is you have to plan every minute of your day. And for some of you, that just makes you squirm. You don't want to be conformed into a schedule. You don't want to have to be that regimented. And so I want you to kind of maybe rethink that if that's you, because it used to be me. I am so spontaneous. I am like a fly by the seat of my pants kind of gal. Like my yard, I knew I wanted to do my yard, but I never said anything concrete about it until I saw the weather change. And I'm like, okay, we're going to take advantage of this window. And so I planned it. But it wasn't something that I started in the beginning of May as one of the goals I had set. So I will say you still can have that freedom to be spontaneous, but it does still have to be carved into your day, because your goals, if it's for business, you still have to run your Nerium business. So I'm going to give you 5 things that I personally do to help me create that balance. The first thing is I build downtime in my schedule. I build downtime. And downtime for some of you is going to look different than what it is for me. Downtime for me is literally going to the library with my kids and not having my cell phone for an hour. Drop activities that sap your energy and your time. Do you feel obligated to do things because someone has an expectation for you? Have you gotten into the habit of doing something that really doesn't serve you, but you still do it because you maybe feel obligated, or it's just been a habit, you've done it, but it doesn't really give you your best opportunities with your time and your balance? Really a good example of that is I have a friend who is an extremely successful at a like a Verizon type of a company, and she travels. And one of the things that she did was she stopped making dinner. She was the breadwinner. She was the one who worked, and her husband just did not. And instead of putting that extra pressure on herself to go to the grocery store, buy the groceries, meal plan, figure all that out, we wouldn't really think maybe it takes that much time, but it does. And then the time to actually make the meals. So that might be an activity in your world that isn't relative, but maybe there's something else that is, that you do that maybe you just don't need it on your plate. Maybe it's something you can have somebody else do, and then it allows them to participate or to help in really what should be mutual goals. Another one is, rethink your time, your errands when you go out. How much can you condense together instead of taking a trip here and then a trip there and a trip here? Condense your activities into one, so that way you're not having multiple trips. Just little things that you can do to allow you to have more time. Because at the end of the day, what I hear people say is, I don't have the time. And that's even people who are already in Nerium that didn't make their phone calls for customer care, who didn't do a follow-up call. It's like, well, where does the time go? The time will pass if you don't plan it as a time-stamped event in your calendar. And planning your day before your day begins, I know we've all heard this, but it literally is the key to having success in anything. If it's in your calendar, you're going to see it and do it. Just like a doctor's appointment. Do you ever miss a doctor's appointment? No, because it's a priority. You put it in your calendar. Do you miss a dentist appointment? Probably not, because you put it in your calendar. It has high importance. You will always spend time and energy on what you value every time. So right now, as you're looking at June, do you have a personal goal, something you just know you really want to accomplish for yourself? Sometimes people have a really hard time with planning goals, but do you have a personal goal? And if you don't, get a coaching call. Have somebody bounce ideas. Get your workout partner and say, I don't have a personal goal. Personal goal can be reading 10 pages of a good book. Personal goal can be listening to 15 minutes on an Audible on a day. If personal goal can be doing your laundry. I mean, personal goal does not have to be something huge, big, audacious goal like lose 30 pounds. A personal goal is just something you set to do, and the goal is more important to set. That's an attainable goal. You can be going to church every Sunday. Personal goal. And then you need to have a business goal. And that can be really hard for people to set too, because maybe you're all over the map on everything that you know you want for your business. But you have to set a goal for your business. So when you look at your month, I want you to have every single thing written out in your month. Everything. All the way to the end of June. You'll plan about 60% of your life. And then 40% is going to happen. And that's just the way it is. And then of the 60% that you plan, not all of the percentage that you plan is going to actually happen. Has anybody ever planned a real results party in your calendar and then your real results party didn't happen? Yeah. Have you ever planned a three-way call in your calendar and then the three-way call didn't happen? Absolutely. So it's not that you don't plan everything. It's that you have everything that you know you need to do, and then you leave space for everything else. the spontaneous activities, the three-way call that you didn't expect, the real results party that comes up last minute because you have a brand new brand partner and you have 3 days in order that you want to get them up and launched. So you're always going to have that cushion as well. So right now in your calendar, you should have your date night. You should have your work if you work a job. You should have every single thing in your calendar. Time block it. Because then you're going to look at it from a topical view your entire month of June, and you're going to see the windows and the pockets of time where you do have your ability to work. So right now, this week, in your calendar, for me, tonight, June 1, we have a market party. Saturday, I have a regional, and those two activities are going to happen. So if I were to look at my week right now and say, when do I have time to do everything else, I would pencil in and block out my time right now. Friday, what would I be doing on Friday? It needs to get penciled in. My kids have activities. I have a rugby banquet in the evening. So when would I build in time to work my Nerium business? Every day, you have to have a minimum of 1 hour that you're working your Nerium business. And that time you're working your Nerium business is not Facebook trolling. It is not looking at how to run a report. Money-making activities in that hour. And that hour would be exposures, follow-up, three-way call, dropping off products, sit-downs, real results parties. A market party is not a money-making activity for you unless you have a guest. A regional is not a money-making activity for you. It's a discipline you build in. It's a training for you to learn how to be the best you can be in building your business. So I want to be really clear on what you do to build your business. Market parties, that's a tool. Regionals is a tool. A money-making activity, exposures, follow-ups, three-way calls, sit-downs, product drop-off, product pickup, opportunities to connect with people. If it's not a money-making activity, you have to ask yourself, why am I doing it? Research takes time, and it helps you be more efficient. So early on in your business, you are going to spend more time researching, looking at how to, oh my goodness, words to use, what to say, how to say it. Successful people know that early on in their business, they are just going to spend more time. It also helps you know who you're going to work with in your organization. Does anybody ever struggle with how to create badges or how to create recognition badges, things like that? Things are just not in your skill set? Yeah, it takes me 2 days to create one. It's extremely challenging for me to do things like that. So who do you know who can do them like that? Ask for help. That's where you delegate. Hey, if I gave you 2 pictures, could you create a badge for me? There's some people, that's their wheelhouse. They can do it in like 30 seconds. And I love that gift that people have that can do that. It's not mine. So another one is know your strengths, know what you're good at, and delegate the rest. It's okay to ask for help. Don't think that you have to do everything. You actually don't. You just have to know where to go to get the support and the help to do it. And then reevaluate often. You know, you get to set your parameters around success and what success looks like. No one else is going to tell you what success looks like. That's your definition. And so communicating that to your support team, what your definition of success looks like for you, is going to help you be supported. Because if your team and your support team really doesn't know what you're going for, they can't fill in the pieces. I think that's one of the things that I absolutely love about Nerium versus all other direct sales companies, is we really focus on your goal is your goal. I did a 3-way call with a gal that she asked, well, what happens when I don't hit the goals that the company sets for me? And I said, well, you set the goals for you. Nerium gives you a suggestion on what we would like to see, getting your first 3 customers, helping you get your product for free, helping you get your first 3 brand partners. But you set your goal, and based on what you want to achieve, we help you where you're at, not what the company dictates you to do. I said, other companies do that, but then if you don't hit it, then you all of a sudden don't find support and people really don't pay attention to you. And she said, exactly. She'd experienced that with 3 other direct sales companies. Her pace was not going to be fast, but she wanted to have a company where she could build something long term, but at her own pace. And she almost had like this massive sigh of relief knowing that she wasn't going to be pressured to have a goal that wasn't her own. That's very unique in how Nerium does support, at least from my experience and my philosophy, people right where they're at, not where you think or a company thinks they should be. So share your support, share with your support team what your success looks like. It could just be getting 1 customer this month. For some of you, you haven't gotten 5 NLC points in a few months, just maybe one NLC point. Maybe getting, maybe it's carving out and actually calling all your customers because you didn't do it last month and let them know that Nerium launched a brand new product. Timestamp your activity of what you're going to do. Don't say you're going to do follow-up calls at 6 o'clock and start at 6 o'clock researching who you're calling. That's not efficient with your time. That's what you do the night before after 9 o'clock instead of watching Breaking Bad, or I don't even know what show you'd be watching. Some show, Dancing with the Stars. That's not what you do. You do it before you set your time. If I were to have done this Zoom this morning and then got on and said, hey guys, what do you want to talk about? It would have been a waste of your time. No, what are we talking about? We're talking about balance, how to create it. What do you do to do that in your life? You have to timestamp it. So I really want to encourage each one of you, plan your entire month before your month begins. Then look at your calendar like a topical map. Look at where you have space. What are you going to do in that space? Don't fill it up. It's okay to say no. And I have the hardest time saying no to everything. And this last month, I got myself in trouble saying yes when I should have said no. I overbooked myself. We had a lot of life happen for me last month. And a lot of health issues with family. We got hit really hard. And I did not expect it to affect me the way that it did, where my time was pulled away from areas that I was used to spending. So you have to give yourself grace as well. It's okay to say no, but then you have to communicate it to your team players. You have to let them know where you're at. This business is a beautiful business when you communicate really effectively with your support team and let everybody know where you're at. So first thing, if you haven't done it, plan your June. Everything goes in there. And then in the times that you have that you've designated that you're going to work, it has to be a money-making activity. If it's not a money-making activity, you're going to have to ask yourself, why did you block the time out? And if you're not prepared, how can you set yourself up for success with preparing? And maybe it's a coaching call. Next is communicate with your support team what that success looks like for you this week, this month. What do you want for your business in June? Nerium is going to take it to the next level. You've got your June, July with convention. Another product is going to drop out. You're going to have momentum again with making those phone calls. We've just launched another new product. I want you to be one of the first ones to try it. This is a season that's very unique and rare, and we're not going to get it back. And there's going to be some of you that are going to take advantage and get in a rhythm and really clip right along with what this company is doing because you've planned it. Are you willing to really, this is a tough one, guys, but are you willing to really tackle your schedule and your balance right now with what's coming with Nerium? You have to plan for it. You're going to have to choose your best yes. Nerium is your best yes in building a future wall around your family. But if you're not prepared for it, if you don't have your mindset right now ready, knowing what's coming, you're going to go through the motions, and you're going to ride along the wave with Nerium. But while other people are hanging 10 off their surfboard, you're going to still be paddling in the water, just enjoying the curve and watching what's happening while everyone else is catching the waves. So there is definitely a rhythm. Get tight with your support team and make it happen. But if you don't do the activities, exposure, follow-ups, three-way calls, you're not going to take advantage at all of what Nerium has to offer. I hope this was helpful. So do you guys have any specific situations where you need coaching on how to build in some balance that I can help you with? Does anybody ever get to when they've carved out their time and then hit a wall where you're like, nah, da, 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 I don't know what to do?
Yeah. Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So this is the one that I used to do. I would make an icebreaker call. And the icebreaker call was to somebody in my support team. And it would be, I'm stuck. I'm stuck. I need to make phone calls and I'm jumbling. I'm stuck. I hit a wall. And actually the gal was amazing. She was like, well, you're in your own way and we need to get you out of your own way. So what are you thinking about before you make that phone call? What is tripping you up? Well, it was usually what to say. What are they going to think about me? I haven't talked to them in a while. What if they want to return the product? You know, all those things would go around in my head. And 90% of what you think never actually comes to fruition. None of it. Yeah. All of our imagination that we imagine and all those scenarios we play out and, you know, all those things, they just don't happen. And so it's literally changing the channel in our mind. And so an icebreaker call is a great way just to flip the switch or to change the channel. Another one is to have key opening scripts for when you make those phone calls. What to say, how to say it. And write them down and have them in front of you. So that way when you do pick up the phone to make the phone call, if you get voicemail, I leave it the same as if it's a person real. Does anybody else struggle with making that initial, when you go to sit down to make your follow-up calls, that you just kind of squirm in your seat? You look at your phone and it's like on fire, and if you touch it, you're going to get burned.
Well,
totally.
Yeah.
Just depends on who you're calling, I guess.
Yep. So pushing through fear is something that's a learned skill as well. Just do it. And the more you do, the easier it gets, and the more confidence you have. And when you call that person and they hear your confidence, I mean, you know what you have your hands on. Another thing is I remind myself of what I have to offer. I remind myself, I like have a bullet point of what we have. I mean, right now we could spiel it off. We have the fastest growing company in the world. We just entered health and wellness. In 5 years, we hit $2 billion in revenue. We have products that not only exceed what people expect, there's nothing else on the planet that can touch or do or replicate what we have our hands on. And all we're doing is sharing with people what we have and asking them to take a look and see if it might be something they would want to try or be a part of. Hey, it may or may not be for you, but this product's amazing. There's nothing else on the planet that does what we do. And I'm looking for people who will be open to checking it out. Oh my gosh, let me make a phone call right now because I'm fired up. You can actually talk yourself into a feeling just as easily as you can think yourself into a feeling. So say it out loud, say it out of your mouth. You have the power really to, thoughts, they're things. So mindset, my yard, man, I could think of that thing as a bummer. I'm looking at it and man, that's a woo. That's me having some awesome biceps at the end of this summer. It's all how we want to look at it. Opportunities for growth or opportunities for decline. Who else has maybe a balance or a life situation where you're wondering how to blend Nerium in? Is there anybody who has something else that I can help with? All right, you guys. Well, I hope that this gave you some food for thought or just maybe reset your sales where you're at and how to set yourself up for your June. Jumpstarting June, summer is the key time to build a business. I've had the most growth in my 15 years in direct sales. It's always been in the summer because people are more open, the sun's out, they're happier, they're more receptive. Yeah. It's just an easier opportunity to have conversations with people at the pool, on vacation. It doesn't matter where you're at. This is the time for growth. And you'll plant your seeds for your fall and you'll just reap a harvest. So I'm excited for you guys. Yes, Shelly, quick question. Fire away, girl. And you're on mute, honey. I'll unmute you. You're unmuted.
Thank you. My iPad's freezing. I guess my balance question, and I don't want anything to turn into an excuse because I can hear myself doing things like that. With working a full-time job, that I am not in control of my time at all during the day. I know you mentioned, using the commute to do personal development and make phone calls, which I definitely use it for personal development. And part of me is using it on the drive home for just decompression time to get my mind together to have that, like that I can't even phrase sentences this morning, to regain my why I want to be doing this. So when I get home, I hit the ground running with my calls. But what I'm finding is I get home and I'm so exhausted and can't form the sentences. I keep myself from getting on the phone for feeling like I don't know what I'm talking about. So I'm just trying to think of if there's a different, even if it's just a mindset issue for me right now, of finding that posture back, getting my posture back, because I do know what we have and I'm so excited for it. And yet I think I'm getting thrown by a lot of the no's, or people not even wanting to get on the phone. This last week, nobody would get on a phone call. It was all text messages. And you can't get a text message on a 3-way call.
No, you sure can't. Well, so a couple ideas is screenshot. When your bandwidth is zapped, your energy is going to come through, even in a text. And that's just being real. I mean, Shelly, we've all been there where we're like, I got nothing to give. I don't even feel like picking up the phone right now. And if I did, I don't even want to talk to this person. I got nothing to say. And I don't even want to know if they like their night cream. I mean, I get you. I'm so in there with you. So it might be taking a screenshot of a conversation in text and sending it and saying, what would you say? I need some help. Just be really real with your support team. You know what? I on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm at 0 right now. Work was a grind today. It zapped everything out of me. I just want to have a mojito and not think about life right now. That's just real. For me, it's a Cosmo or a little vodka. So push it up. Say, I need your words because I don't have them right now. Okay. There's a saying, you fake it till you make it. And it doesn't mean you're not somebody who you're not, but man, you do need to fake it sometimes. You need to put on the smile. You need to give yourself a little bit of energy. This is going to sound silly, but put on your favorite music, turn it up and dance it out. Man, Roxanne Sweeney and I have done that more than once, even if we're not in the same state. I'm like, hey, we're going to dance it out. And we get all goofy. She actually recorded us dancing it out one time, and I told her she is never allowed to post that as not going public. Sometimes you can give yourself some energy when you didn't actually feel it by just putting on some really good music and, whatever, make yourself a youth factor drink and just dance it out. Call me, Dane, I need to dance it out. Awesome. We're going to get on Zoom together and we're going to look goofy and we're going to do it. Sometimes you just need to have that camaraderie, whatever that word is, of somebody else just with you. It doesn't mean that you're then going to, I don't know, I'm going to say dance it out. I know if you called Michelle and said, Michelle, I need to dance it out, she'd dance it out with you. Patrick would dance it out with you. Sheila would dance it out with you. Amy for sure would dance it out with you. I would say, pick up the phone and say, I had a bummer of a day and I don't want to talk about the bummer of my day, but I want to talk about how I need to make a couple phone calls and I need to dance it out or whatever. Maybe you don't want to dance it out, but I say dance it out.
Okay. I'll dance it out. Patrick offered to dance it out with me late last night too. So Patrick.
I'm there for you. And this is, Dana's call, but I got to tell you, Shelly, when I was working in the government office, let me just set the stage by saying this. I actually had to file an EEOC complaint for gender discrimination and go to the union. I mean, that's what kind of environment I had to deal with. I had people literally sneaking around, looking through cubicles, trying to catch people doing things wrong. That's the environment I had to deal with. So the only thing that saved my bacon is what Dana was talking about. I scheduled that time out, and I tell you what, a lot of times it wouldn't be music, but I have 2 or 3 recorded trainings from people like Dale Munger and Mark Mishu, and I'll listen to that. I'll tell you what, that'll get you fired up in a hurry, and I just take that energy and go with it. And I'd call somebody that I knew that I was going to have a good time with, and just let that build my momentum. But it was, boy, I had to schedule it down to the gnat's rear end on my time at that workplace, because it was terrible. It can be done, and I know if anybody can do it, you can do it. I don't know if that helps, but I'm happy to talk it out with you, or help in any way I can, anytime I can.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So the only thing I will add to this is, after you talk it out, dance it out, listen to something motivational, you have to get into immediate activity.
Yep.
Otherwise, you just sit in that good feeling, but then that feeling doesn't produce motion. It doesn't produce that forward motion. And so you have to move. Even if moving is going out and taking a walk, you have to move. So the movement has to happen immediately with it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes. Anybody else? All right, you guys, have a fantastic week. I look forward to seeing many of you on Thursday, tonight, and on Saturday. And of course, as always, I am here for you. And just know that we're going to build this together, and we're in for the long haul. And success is what it looks like for you, and you need to share that with your support team. All right, guys, have a fantastic day. Bye.